Bienvenidos. I can tell you without a doubt, that is the most and the best dancing ever in this Baptist church. I'm Marcus McFall, the senior minister here at Binkley, and I want to welcome all of you to this Justice United Mental Health Assembly. Binkley, like every member of Justice United, shares the hope of a vision where everyone, with no exception in Orange County, has the opportunity for deep well-being, for healing, and for the shalom which comes from God. As Orange County Justice United members know, we organize ourselves by making a commitment to each other to work together toward the things that matter to us. And that's quite a range of social concerns and justice issues and issues of fairness. I'll now do a roll call of Justice United members. So please stand up if you would as a group when I call your name. You can clap, you can cheer, you can sing your fight
Buenas noches
song,
a todos. Vamos a hacer una...
and we'll start with a bunch that I know well, the Binkley Baptist Church. Let me try that again. Binkley Baptist Church. Chapel of the Cross Episcopal Church. Church of the Holy Family. Church of the Reconciliation. Episcopal Church of the Advocate. Hillsborough Presbyterian Church. The Newman Catholic Community on the Carolina campus. Especially give it up for our friends from the Piney Grove Missionary Baptist Church. St. Matthew's Episcopal Church. And finally, our friends from St. Thomas More Catholic Church. And these Justice United groups are also joining us via Zoom. They are Chapel Hill Carrboro branch of the NAACP, Habitat for Humanity, and Empowerment Incorporated. And would you again join me in thanking the St. Thomas More dance group and how they have already led us so beautifully. Now I would invite the translator to come up and do a mic check. It's now my privilege and pleasure to invite my sister, Maria Palmer, to open us in prayer. Maria.
God speaks English too, Marcus. I sometimes can understand, not Southern English for sure, but no, I'm just kidding. No. Oremos. Señor, saber que nos reconoces aunque somos pequeñas criaturas en la inmensidad de tu universo. Saber que no somos ignorados nos llena de gozo, seguridad y esperanza. En este mundo de innumerables ruidos y confusión de voces, te invocamos. Sabemos que en medio del caos nos escuchas, nos das paz y alegría. Te pedimos esta noche, en medio de nuestras alegrías y nuestros quebrantos, nuestras satisfacciones y nuestras necesidades, algunos venimos solos, otros acompañados, algunos saludables, otros enfermos. Pero te pedimos, Señor, que nos favorezcas con tu atención y con tu cuidado. Nuestras almas se tornan a ti como la tierra sedienta que se abre a la lluvia refrescante. Tu presencia, Señor, es nuestra agua, nuestro pan, nuestro alimento. Te pedimos que en este encuentro nos ayudes a profundizar nuestra relación los unos con nosotros y contigo. Ayúdanos a vivir como tu pueblo en medio de este mundo. Ayúdanos, Señor, a demostrar que como tu pueblo podemos vivir en paz y en armonía, cuidándonos unos a otros, amándonos unos a otros.
After one another, loving one,
Para dar testimonio
give
de tu
testimony
amor.
of your love.
Cada uno ora y te invoca por el
Each
nombre
one of
con el que
us
te conoce.
prays to you
We
and
each call
invokes you.
upon you, God, by the name by which we know you. Y yo oro, Señor, en el nombre de Jesucristo.
Pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Buenas noches. Soy el diácono Luis Rollo, director de los
My
ministerios.
name is Deacon Gorroyo. I am the lead of Hispanic Affairs in Wexford Chapel Hill, and I'm a member of the board of the Justice United Organization. For starting, I would like to acknowledge the elected officials for joining us today in this meeting. We have a person representing elect Senator for North Carolina, Greg. If you're here, if you could stand up, please. Also have the Orange County Commissioner, Amy Fowler. We also have Jeff Sidham Bedford, Orange County Commissioner. Orange County Commissioner Selig Green. Orange County Commissioner John Hamilton. Member of the Board of Directors for the School District at Orange County, Jamie Moore. Member of the Board of Directors of the School District at Marin, Sarah Mailey. If there are any other elected officials that I didn't mention here, please stand up to acknowledge. From the Orange County Board of Education, Board of Directors. Thank you. Now, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the representatives of Alliance Health, a company that manages the public mental health funds for the Orange County. They're here as a group, and their leader is John Schleiberg. Please rise to be acknowledged.
I would now like to explain to our guests that the Orange County Justice United is a community group that is formed by 20 group members. Our mission is to continue building a solid community of leaders who can work together to create real change around the problems that affect their lives or our lives. We decide together how to prioritize our work by listening to each other. Last year, during several months, more than 400 of our members got together in small groups, and we asked each other, what keeps you awake at night? What change would be most significant for you, for your family, or your neighbors? Then we met as an organization to vote about our main priorities that we should approach together. And tonight we are here because we heard something in those meetings loud and clear. Something was very loud and clear in our Latin American leadership. They sounded the alarm that we are in a mental health crisis in Orange County. And today, tonight, we are going to begin transforming that crisis into hope for thousands of people in Orange County. Because here we are, those of us that are here, we have the will to make a difference in the real lives of real people. We are here to make sure that this crisis is no longer ignored by our community and not be ignored, especially by people in power. There are almost no resources of mental health available for our Latin community in Orange County. Even before the pandemic, many members of our community, of our Latin American community, were experiencing trauma and extreme stress. The pandemic simply pushed this to a break point. As a church, St. Thomas More has worked incessantly to break the stigma about about mental health, so that people can know that it is okay to talk about how they feel. However, we see that when people finally have the courage to speak and seek for help, unfortunately, they can't find where to go. We have a crisis, but for many in the community who are not Hispanic, unfortunately, it is a silent crisis. We barely have any public data available about mental health services that are available to the Hispanic community in our county. When we have asked our elected representatives to find this information, this data, they themselves were not able to find it. The, the databases of the county don't have it. The only information we have about mental health in Orange County is about a study carried out in 2009 before the pandemic. And that report showed that for Hispanics, there are more hospitalization cases due to mental health issues. This report showed that most of the Hispanics who experience mental health problems don't find support, and they end up going straight to the emergency rooms of our hospitals when they have reached a situation that is extreme. But the drama doesn't finish there. This study also showed that adults wait between 60 and 70 hours to be hospitalized at the UNC hospital. And in the case of children and youth, the case is even more dramatic. They wait 7 to 10 days to be admitted and receive first aid as far as mental health is concerned. Can you imagine that the pandemic simply turned this reality into something more critical? The report of Orange County, remember, 2018, 2019, also indicated that there are no clinics that work on a nonprofit model in Orange County who speak Spanish. This is due to the fact that the only provider is called that is affordable, that it's not expensive. It's called El Futuro. Had to close their offices in Orange County almost 10 years ago. All other providers after that refer any Latin residents in Orange County to the El Futuro clinic located in Durham. And there, that clinic has a long waiting list to give attention, give care to those who need it. But even though our county lacks any data that are reliable, we do have many anecdotes, many stories. Personally, and due to my work as a director of Spanish ministry of St. Thomas More Church, is a church that has about 1,000 Hispanic families registered as members, with an average of 4 members per family. Not a week goes by in my life, in my work, where I don't hear someone about their problems related, many of them to mental health, traumatic experiences, difficulties to face the stress of their own lives, depression, anxiety, trouble in their relationship with their children, with their spouses.
Los primeros lugares en donde una persona, especialmente hispana,
Churches are places where, especially Hispanics, the first place where they seek help.
instituciones que le ofrezcan esa ayuda en su idioma,
Added to this, if you have the fact that there's no institutions that offer help in their own language, the church might be the only place where they might seek help and find some. But I am aware of my own limitations and the limitations of our community. I'm aware that many of these people suffer depression that is undiagnosed and they need professional help, but they have nowhere to go. Then, this is why today we can change this. This could be the day in which we start to transform this situation. We have lost too many lives due to problems of mental health. And you are going to hear at least 2 of these stories today that are not isolated and are not the only ones. People who at one point felt they had no other option to receive help they needed, the help that they were seeking. It's very important that all of us that are present here understand how public financing works for mental health services in our state and our county, to understand why those that are here are here. In North Carolina, to each county, a company is assigned that receives, administers, and distributes public funds for mental health. The agency that performs this role in our county is called Alliance Health, and they are present here tonight. It is important to know that Alliance Health is in our county since last December, only since last December, less than 1 year. And before Alliance Health, there was another company called Cardinal Innovations. This company eliminated funds that were destined to support mental health services for people who were undocumented and did not provide services of bilingual therapists. And for that reason, the El Futuro Clinic that 10 years ago provided services in the county had to close their offices in Orange County and move completely to Durham. While that happened, we know today, thanks to investigations carried out by the state itself that Cardinal was compensating their CEO with than $1 million as a salary. This against state regulations. Not only that, they were, while real people were suffering mental health crisis, Cardinal was spending taxpayer money in private airplanes, luxury vehicles, parties, and going to costly hotels. After many years of neglect towards the community, the state investigated the situation and dissolved Cardinal Innovations, but the damage was done. Many lives had already been lost. And now, after so many years without any investments in services for the Latin community, we are in a very deep well. But we are going to get out of here. And that is why we are here tonight, because we want to go out as a strong community, united and make a difference. I would now like to invite Sitiali Arisa, one of our organizers in Orange County, to explain the specific purpose of our meeting tonight. Good evening. My name is Sitiali Arisa, and I'm one of the organizers with Justice United. And I'm a member of the St. Thomas More Church and a member of the Spanish mental health ministry of our church. Tonight, we are here met together as a united community to say no more, no more. Tonight, we will first hear testimonies from members of our community about the crisis that we just described. Also, tonight we will bring some proposals to change to the executives of Alliance Health. We also have invited our elected representatives, both state and the commissioners of the county, and also our commissioner, Dr. Amy Fowler, which is a member of the board of directors of Alliance. Our representatives have a legal, fiduciary, and moral obligation to bring accountability to the Alliance's executives so that they serve our people as they should. They have this obligation to serve our people the way they serve everyone else. We have that right. We will invite you to commit to work with us to come to a solution so that they take their responsibility seriously to lead so that we may come out of this crisis. Now, I'd like to give space for the testimonies of tonight. I'm going to invite 3 community leaders to share testimonies that describe the true state of our mental health crisis. We will start with Ms. Diana Huerta. Good evening. My name is Diana Huerta. I'm a member of the community of the St. Thomas More Church. I'm a Mexican and have lived more than half of my life living in this country, finding myself alone in this country, far from. I've experienced depression and panic attacks. In the midst of my crisis, I went to the clinic El Futuro to seek for help, but there's always a long waiting list. At those times of crisis, I've had to seek help through private therapists, but due to their high cost, I've never been able to finish my treatment. My life is like a roller coaster. I have high points, low points, and in many times I find no sense to my life. I live a constant struggle. 8 years ago, we suffered the loss of one of our loved ones. He decided to take his own life. I cannot imagine what happened, what went through his mind at that time, and all the suffering that he experienced. After that time, I got involved in the church, in groups, and now I'm a volunteer of the uh, funeral ministries in the Hispanic community. I've been able to help many people in the process of going through a funeral, and this has helped me know people closely and see the suffering of mothers who have lost their children, family members, brothers, complete families who have suffered and have tried to handle grief. They go into depression and strong anxiety. Out there, there's many people that need help, and this is a cry for help from our community. Maybe after tonight, we may be able to save complete families and many lives. Then tonight, I am calling upon our state representatives, our commissioners, and especially the leaders of Alliance Health, take this crisis very seriously and that they lead with all their ability to bring us out of this crisis. Now I'd like to invite Juan Carlos Núñez.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Juan Carlos
Good
Núñez.
evening. My name is Juan Carlos Núñez, and I want to share a brief testimony about depression and anxiety of my wife, Enriqueta, which is one of the ladies who danced here tonight, and she is here present. A little over 8 years ago, my wife started to have health problems. She felt that she lacked strength. Then this was followed by uncontrollable tremors in her body and followed by panic attacks. Both for her and the rest of the family, this brought much uncertainty because we did not know what was happening with my wife. I remember that in one of her crises, she looked up and I saw in her face much fear. She was crying and she told me, I would rather die than continue feeling this. And, and I took her by the hands and I answered, if you are going to die, I just ask that even to the last moment, don't lose your faith in God. And I took her to the emergency room at UNC Hospital, and there she was admitted, and many doctors and nurses saw her, they asked her questions, until finally a doctor gave us a diagnosis. And she told us that she was suffering from anxiety and severe depression. In a matter of days, my wife contacted the offices of the El Futuro Clinic in Carborough. It was rather easy to find the help she needed there, and soon she started receiving psychological therapy on an individual basis and also group therapy. But unfortunately, a few months later, the El Futuro Clinic closed their offices, and just like my wife, all the people that received those therapies had no way to continue follow-up with their sessions that were alleviating their suffering and that were clearing their minds.
After so many years of control, my wife fell into severe depression, and it was really difficult to find therapists who could help her. She called El Futuro at Durham, but they couldn't help her because of the pandemic and because all the appointments were already booked solid. They were only offered only from time to time, and sporadically, some virtual therapy was offered, but my wife said that that therapy should be offered in person. After much searching, in the end, she got in touch with a psychologist, and she felt really pleased during her therapy sessions because this psychologist is Hispanic, and the help she got from her was very valuable indeed. We need bilingual psychologists, psychiatrists who can help the Latino community suffering from this terrible illness. American therapists who speak Spanish are a great help too to understand the Hispanic community. But if we had a bilingual therapist who were Hispanic in origin, it would be much better because not only would they be able to understand their patients, but also they will be able to comprehend them better, understand them fully. Because since we're Hispanic and we're living in this country, we do have a ingrained culture within us, and our ways are different. Depression and anxiety have an impact on the patient and also their family and the people around. As a husband, it is not easy for me to see my life partner in such suffering. It is not easy to find the right medicine and the right dosage for every patient. And their effects, when the medicine is not the right one, produces very strong disorders in patients. My wife took 2 years to find the right medication. These were 2 long years worth of changes in her nervous system, in her brain, and in her body. But thank God, today I can say that she has gone back to her normal life. Thank you very much for your attention. Up next, I would like to give the floor to Álvaro. Good afternoon. My name is Álvaro Álvarez. I am a member of the St. Thomas More Parish, and I've lived in Carborough Chapel Hill for 23 years. I've lived my whole life in Orange County. By the grace of God, I graduated from college, and now I'm an aspiring doctor, but that wasn't always the case. I am going to tell you a little bit about my experience on mental health. In October 2001, my uncle committed suicide. The impact on that event on my life was that it changed it completely. It was only after his death that the frailty of life was revealed before my eyes. I realized that we all die someday. Can you imagine? And I was 8 years old back then, an 8-year-old thinking how and when they're gonna die, as opposed to playing games and being a kid. My mom, who struggled with depression, a depression brought on by what happened to her brother, and who used mental health services, took me to therapists. These therapists had their practice in Carborough, and they were with El Futuro. I still remember the fun activities I used to engage in as a kid with my therapist and the conversations we had. Spoke to me in my first language, Spanish, and that was really beneficial to me to express myself and so that I can convey my progress to my mom. And that was my life. As far as mental health goes, I went down, I went up, I went down. When I fell into a severe depression back in 2016, I looked for the El Futuro services, and I found out that I no longer had any services in Carborough, and I had to go all the way to Durham. Recently, the stress of school and other professional commitments weighed heavily on me, and so I sought therapy again. I wanted to let it off my chest, uh, preferably with someone who could listen to me objectively, but they told me that the wait list was very long. God, my situation wasn't as urgent. Can you imagine someone who's suffering from depression, anxiety, or any other illness, but a severe version of it, and this person weren't able to find the right treatment? Now, when it comes down to it, we need more options for health services for the Hispanic community. which is why I'm so enraged. I discovered that cardboard innovations, the ones in charge to, to taking money out of our taxes to provide mental health services for our communities, were throwing these big parties on luxury yachts, and their CEO was earning millions of dollars. These corrupted individuals opted to get rich by denying Hispanics the mental health services they deserve. People from my community, people from my family. This is absurd. And as a Mexican, que poca madre. Which is why I'm asking you, the executives at Alliance Health, our representatives here in this room, that when you make a decision on where to assign funds, please remember that 8-year-old boy who, without mental health services, maybe right now wouldn't have any aspirations, and his life quality would be very poor. Thank you. Now, I'm going to give the floor to Catherine Ward.
Buenas, mi nombre es
Hello, my name is Catherine Ward. I am a parish member at St. Thomas More. I co-chair the mental health research team. I coordinate the mental health ministry at St. Thomas More. I am a psychologist, and I'm also one of the co-directors of Refugee Community Partnership. I know, that's a mouthful. Now, you just heard testimonies on how serious this crisis is for the Latino community across all the county. And this is the result of a severe lacking in mental health resources. We've lost so many lives, a lot of them, and a lot of people in our community have suffered. But it is important to remember again that this crisis does not exist today by accident, nor is it the result of bad luck. This crisis has been brought upon by a lack of interest, by a lack of resources, and by a lack of accountability by the people and agents of providing those services. Cardinal Innovations decided to cut vital resources to the Latino community. The result of this negligence is very simple to understand. Agencies serving our community in an efficient way are no longer operating in our county because there are no funds to do that. This crisis is man-made, and as such, must be corrected by men, by people. Now, Alliance Health has an unparalleled opportunity to correct past mistakes and to solve the situation. In our line of work, we understand two basic things. One, in order to be recognized by Alliance, county commissioners and state representatives must start by organizing and demonstrating our collective power. And we're doing that. Together, we have to create a specific proposal and submit it to those who have the power to change things, as opposed to just complaining. That is why we're here with clear proposals, specific proposals, because we're part of the solution. I'm going to explain to you where these proposals come from. For almost a year, we conducted more than 30 meetings, research meetings with mental health providers, as well as other stakeholders in our community, and also listening sessions with our own people. And we came up with a list of proposals, and we believe these proposals to be practical and tangible, and our community members have said that they would make a real difference in their lives. Today, we want to know how elected officials and these institutions are trying to lead, and we want them to commit to solving the mental health crisis in the Latino community. Now, here are our proposals. These proposals, mind you, are also part of your program so that you can follow them along. First and foremost, we propose that the Alliance Health leaders and, and commissioners and state representatives commit to work together with us to create specific concrete solutions. And also, we have more specific proposals. Number one, creating and maintaining a mental health services guide for the Latino community in Orange County. Two, increasing resource options for group sessions, even community classes on various mental health topics in community places that the community that have the trust of the community, such as churches. Number three, increasing community and health promoters, community leaders and health promoters capacity to provide primary interventions in mental health in our own language and culture. Number four, ensuring that the Orange County Mental Health Crisis Center, which is a proposal, has bilingual staff. This would be a place for us to go and find help as opposed to spending days in the hospital, supporting a phased return of El Futuro to Orange County. Investing in recruiting and retaining bilingual therapists who belong to the Latino culture, even with payment for bilingual therapists and professional health programs. We know that these proposals are only the first step. We must stay organized and we must be on the lookout to make sure that what is promised in this meeting becomes a reality. Now, let me ask you, do I have the promise of all the members of Justice United to continue fighting until the end? If I have your word, please stand and make your commitment a reality.
Gracias.
Thank you. We have these specific proposals, and we have a vision that where there's suffering now, as well as despair and fear, there can be healing, peace, and hope instead in our community. We know that Alliance Health is the group that receives public funds to distribute mental health services across Orange County, and so they have a decision-making power on how to invest in the Latino community and solving this crisis. We also understand that county commissioners and elected officials have a legal, fiduciary, and moral obligations to keep Alliance executives accountable to serve our people the way they serve everyone else in this beautiful county. Now, Deacon Luis Royo will invite our elected officials to respond to this urge, and then Cardinal Alliance Operations Director Sean Schreiber specifically respond to our proposals. Justice United will keep time and will let you know once you have 30 seconds left and when you're out of time. Thank you very much. I would like to invite our Orange County commissioners. I want to ask you two questions. But first, I would like you to step on stage, please. I would like to invite Orange County commissioners who are here in this room to come up to the stage. Please, commissioners, if you could step to the stage, please. First, I would like to ask you to answer this question with either a yes or a no. Will you work with Justice United and Alliance Health to solve the crisis brought upon by a lack of attention and investments on the mental health needs of the Latino community? Yes. You said yes. You said yes. Now, let us know in no more than 2 minutes, how will you lead as a county as an Orange County Commissioner, how will you help solve the crisis brought upon by the lack of attention and investment in the mental health needs of the Latino community?
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Thank you for this opportunity to hear the mental health needs of the local Latino community. I appreciate your bravery of all that you shared with us tonight. My name is Amy Fowler, and I am one of the Orange County Commissioners and have served on the Alliance Board for the past year. I will soon transition off the board, and one of my colleagues here will likely take my spot. As a side note, my daughter is studying global disability health in Santiago, Chile, and I wish I had her language skills, but in order to do you justice, I must rely on the translator here tonight. During the COVID pandemic, mental health needs have grown exponentially for all of Orange County, the state, the nation, and the world. As a pediatrician, I used to see one person with mental health problems per 6 months. Now I see 3 a day. And I understand when I try to refer, I cannot find anyone to see my patients for several months. So I feel your pain. And I appreciate that Justice United is passionate about this issue and finding solutions to the gap in mental health care for the Latinx community. I too am passionate about mental health of our entire community, and that certainly includes the Latinx community. I wholeheartedly agree that it is important to provide mental health care that is culturally sensitive and provided in an individual's primary language. I believe Alliance is interested in this issue as well. At the last Alliance board meeting, the Alliance Department of Diversity and Equity highlighted this opportunity for improvement. And at a recent Orange County Behavioral Health Task Force, another Alliance staff member who was assessing our network adequacy also pointed out an opportunity for improvement in providing culturally competent and language appropriate care. In my interactions with Alliance, I have found that the staff are genuinely passionate about engaging with the community and improving care for the members they serve. As an individual county commissioner member, I am committed to listening to Justice United and any local community group to hear the needs of our community as it relates to mental health, which is primarily addressed by Alliance, but also in any services the county provides. I cannot speak for the whole board, but I believe that my colleagues are equally committed to equity and diversity. As mentioned, I also serve on the county's Behavioral Health Task Force. This group meets monthly to discuss ways to improve mental health care in our community and to divert mental health crises away from emergency departments, hospitals, law enforcement, and the court system. We are exploring how to employ crisis response teams rather than law enforcement when appropriate, and how to fund a behavioral health crisis diversion facility. And I agree that if and when these services and facility come to fruition, they should offer culturally and language appropriate care. Meanwhile, as we work to improve, I think it's important to say that if you're experiencing a mental health crisis, please reach out to your primary care providers to help guide you to the appropriate mental health resources. I realize that there are insufficient Spanish-speaking resources, but there are a few providers in Orange County, such as the Center for Emotional Health, that do employ Spanish-speaking providers. And as you are aware, there are providers in the neighboring county. And if you are in crisis, please be aware that there's a new number, 988, which is a suicide and crisis helpline that can offer services from either English or Spanish-speaking providers. And they also provide services in other languages via use of a language line. There are many needs and insufficient resources that slow the rate of progress, yet we are all here tonight because we care and we want to hear how to better serve you and all of Orange County residents. And I apologize for not stopping, but my colleagues told me they were going to be shorter.
Comisionada Bedford.
Commissioner Bedford. My name is Jancera Bedford. I studied English about 40 some years ago, but I'm not that good, so I'm sorry. And
yes, I absolutely am committed to working with Justice United, our residents, our community, our nonprofits, our providers, the schools, everyone who can contribute to helping solve this crisis that we see throughout our community. We had a presentation at the commissioners meeting Tuesday night from the state about calling 988. And I was astonished at the rate of 12 to 18-year-olds who have called, the increased rate. So we definitely want to make sure that the existing services and emergency services that we have communicated what is available, and they do have Spanish speaking responders, not in chat or not in text, but on the phone. My vision, our vision, I think we still have to create that vision together. And everything is so interconnected. It's not just about, it is certainly we need the direct services. My son is a psychiatrist at UNC Health, working more with the developmental disability population. I have had the unfortunate experience of having Cardinal as my provider for my daughter, who is now 35 years old with IDD, autism, and mental health. And I just can't, I won't even go there. But I certainly led our county commissioners to make the transition to Alliance Health because of because we knew at least there were resources in our neighboring counties and you wouldn't have to drive to Charlotte to get services. Or they wanted to put my daughter in a group home 4 hours away. They were unreasonable. And my husband's a lawyer and I had been on the school board for 12 years. How can I speak English, I'm as white as they come. And how can anybody else have that kind of access to services? It's very inequitable. So our vision needs to involve the schools. We were glad to appropriate $1.5 million about a year ago for mental health services in the schools. Counselors, more, and we, additional support. We are working, as Amy said, on the Behavioral Health Crisis Intervention Center. That's going to also be community center, but we are only going to have a contract in December for an architect. So that's a few years out. We cannot wait. We have to move forward with Alliance, with the community to do better. And everything overlaps, right? If you have housing, if you have transportation, if you have food, then your mental health crisis is going to come down. You're going to do better. So we have to, as a county, make sure we are the social safety net so that people have those other resources. And I do see it. And I see your sign, and I'll just try to finish up then. We have to lobby the General Assembly for more money. I mean, that is number one. We have to lobby them. Our Orange County delegation is very supportive of more funding. So we have to, our friends and family members who live in other counties, we have to get them to help us. And let's see, we have a gaps analysis. We will make sure we add this to our gaps analysis of the needs for the Hispanic and Latino community. And so I'll stop there because I could talk for hours about this need, and I'm happy to represent you. Thank you.
Commissioner Hamilton. Thank you so much. I'm Gene Hamilton. I'm Orange County Commissioner. I also am a licensed clinical social worker in private practice. So I have seen firsthand the mental health crisis in our community across the board, and really appreciate this opportunity to listen and hear about the specific needs of the Latino community as far as mental health services. In my role as county commissioner, I see it as being here to meet the needs of our community and the ones who are most vulnerable. And knowing that we have to do this, with limited funds. And so I approach really any decision that I'm making, one, to start with education, like, what are we doing? And I think this has been, again, wonderful opportunity to hear firsthand what is missing as far as mental health services for the Latino community. So that has raised my awareness so that as we go forward and all the other, the crisis center that we're working on, we'll keep in mind about who's not being served. So as Commissioner Bedford said about the gaps analysis, that's part of what we have to ask and know what questions to ask. Because I think as commissioner, sometimes we don't know all the questions to ask unless we hear from the community. You know, once we identify where the gaps are, right, we're going to be looking for Alliance, for UNC Health, for the schools to work, for all of us to work together, right? Because we cannot do this alone, right? We have to work together. And part of my role as a commissioner is to bring people together and encourage them to work together. And then, yeah, when budget time comes, I'll have to look at our priorities and remember this. Thank you.
Agradecemos el
We
poderoso
thank the powerful support of our county commissioners at Orange County, but we know that we also need the support of our representatives and senators of North Carolina. And Senator-elect Rick Meyer met with us in this process, and he has confirmed also the support for this campaign. And his personal representative is present here, Ms. Daphne Queen, and I invite her to come forward and read a statement that Representative Mayer, the Senate-elect, has written for us tonight.
Hi, good evening. I am not Representative Meyer. I am indeed Daphne Quinn. I'm his legislative assistant, and it's wonderful to be with you. And he wishes he were here, but I have a letter, a statement to read from him to you all. Good evening. I apologize for not being able to join you today. I have been in conversation with both Justice United and Alliance Health about the content of today's meeting, and I pledge to continue working with both. North Carolina needs to take care of all of our residents. You deserve to have what you need to take care of yourself and your family, including work that respects you, schools for your children, and healthcare for your body and mind. Prior to being in the General Assembly, I was a social worker in Chapel Hill, at the Chapel Hill Carborough City Schools, sorry. I saw how hard Latino families work to take care of their children and give them an opportunity here. I also saw how difficult it is to be an immigrant away from your country and in a place that sometimes is very hostile towards you. Mental health care should be easily accessible and affordable for everyone who needs it, and we need to be open communicators about how important mental health and healthcare is when some members of our community are unfamiliar with it or scared of it. Thank you to everyone here today for your important efforts. I look forward to supporting our next steps together.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. I would now like to invite all the representatives of the Alliance Health Organization to come forward and before this community. And if they could all come forward, I would thank you for this.
Representantes de Alliance Health aquí presentes.
All the representatives of Alliance Health who are present here tonight.
Les he pedido y gracias por pasar al frente
Thank you
todos.
for coming forward because their presence of this significant group of Alliance executives is a testimony of the commitment of creating change for good in our community.
Y especialmente quiero agradecer
And I want to especially thank Dr. Schreiber for being here with us. We understand that the President, CEO, Mr. Robinson, was not able to be with us tonight. But I would like to ask you initially, Mr. Schreiber, if you have an authorization by Mr. Robinson and the Board of Directors of Alliance Health to represent them and to make commitments with us as we seek solutions for this crisis.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. We had met several times with these representatives of Alliance and leaders of our community, and we have been forging a relationship of public collaboration with them who have in their hands the capacity to make decisions for the community's well-being. So I'm going to make you two questions. And initially, I will just ask that you respond with a yes or no. I want to make it clear that these questions, we have discussed them beforehand. We are not trying to surprise them or put them on the spot with any questions tonight. What we want is to everyone be on the same page and to understand clearly what are we willing to commit to, every one of us who are present here tonight in this room tonight. Mr. Schreiber, do you commit, does the leadership of Alliance commit to work with the leaders of Alliance, of Justice United, with the lead commissioners of Orange County and other elected representatives of North Carolina to prioritize this crisis of mental health resources in the Hispanic community, including specific plans for the next budget, which begins in June 2023?
Yes, it's our duty and our honor to work with you.
Y la segunda pregunta,
Second question, does the leadership of Alliance commit to work so that we can achieve the 5 proposed goals, which is including making a guide about mental health services, increase the capacity of the community leaders or health providers, ensure that the budget of the crisis center of Orange County Mental Health Center has bilingual personnel, and also support the return in phases of the El Futuro Clinic to Orange County, and invest in the retaining and recruiting bilingual therapists. No.
sí, una guía para servicios de salud mental.
Number 1, a guide for mental health services.
Bien. Bien. Entonces, Mr. Schreiber, ahora le invitamos
Mr. Schreiber, we invite you to now share your vision, the vision of Alliance to approach this crisis. And we'll have a timekeeper for this.
Thank you, Deacon Royo. First of all, I want to say it really is an honor to be invited here today. This is really one of the best ways we get to learn and understand the needs of the community. There's lots of ways to get information, but talking to people and hearing your brave stories has been appreciated. It's really been, it's just been a few times, but it's really been very helpful and I think just a wonderful experience for our organization to meet with you and your organization and look at ways we can partner together. Alliance firmly believes that one of the best things we can do in every community is expand access to behavioral health care. It's a huge issue, not just in these communities, but nationwide, that we're really looking forward to tackle and find creative solutions to do so. As the local kind of mental health authority and funder of services, we often get lots of proposals. What I found so encouraging about this proposal, the first ask was for a good partnership. And it's really much easier to move forward with these kinds of initiatives when we have good partners. And we're very committed to doing so. In fact, when we were looking at your list, there's some things we've already started to do. So Alliance has had a history in looking to support providers who are culturally sensitive, work in the communities where people live, and are more reflective of the community. We've invested significant funds, and we will continue to do so along that vein. Historically, we have paid higher rates to our providers who hire Spanish-speaking therapists, and we'll look at new and creative ways to add to those recruiting and retention efforts that we've started. It's also been a privilege for Alliance to have a long-standing partnership with El Futuro and fund a lot of the services in Durham that apparently people from Orange County come to access. So for us, really to partner, to work with you, the county, and where needed, advocacy to the state to find ways to bring that service back to the community. And those are our firm commitments from Alliance. And if Rob Robinson, our CEO, is here, he would share that same commitment. So thank you very much for your time and for the invitation this evening.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Schreiber, y a todos.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schreiber, and all the executives for Alliance. We see that this is a historic night because starting today, we have a commitment, a joint commitment between state representatives, like the state elect representative, commissioners from Orange County, high executives from Alliance Health, and you, the community of the county, of Orange County. If we work together, as we have been together meeting today, we can really make a difference in the lives of many people in our county. This is what we need to continue making of our county and our state, North Carolina, a great state, a great county. Thank you very much.
Ese estar de pie de los miembros de la comunidad hispana refleja lo significativo que
Standing up of the Hispanic community reflects how significant this evening has been, because for many of us that I personally know, this means hope. And the hope makes a big difference. When we live without hope, when we think that there is no future, no options, everything looks gray and senseless. And this is why, for these people who are here tonight, today is a new dawn. There's a new light. And I thank everyone who have made this commitment today. And I'd like to invite Maria Teresa Palmer and Pastor Mark, who are going to pray with us so that these commitments go hand in hand with the Lord.
It is no small thing, is it, to be able to tell your truth and to tell your story. And so, to the three of you particularly, Diana, Juan Carlos, Alvaro, gracias. For in telling our story with those who wish to listen and hope to make change, change could be coming. All of you in this room know that there's a lot of work between promise and fulfillment, don't you? Every church, every congregation, every organization, every county commissioner, and every Alliance Health member knows that there is a lot of work to make these words come true. ¿Verdad? So accountability tonight will go beyond these nice words and the polite applause. We're all responsible. We have heard of the abuse and the corruption behind the crisis in the mental health situation, especially in our Latino community. And we want to make our commitments and agreements with the people who have the ability to work together with us, together with the county and with Alliance Health, to bring our community out of this crisis. So the logical question is simple. Where do we go from here? Do you want to go forward? Yes. So Devin and his friends will pass out now some clipboards to all of the floor team members. If you would hold up your sign, and he and others can find you. Because we invite all of the Justice United members to commit to staying united, working consistently and persistently to bring these 6 proposals that we have heard to reality. That we are committed to making sure that where there has been suffering, and there has been suffering, healing, and where there has been despair, there could be found hope. A few community leaders will be bringing clipboards, as they are now, to each of our groups. And we are asking a representative from each group to put your group's name down to commit to a core team meeting to meet before the end of 2022 and to evaluate our assembly and map out our plan for the coming year, 2023. Just as we call for accountability from others, it is our discipline to hold ourselves accountable. And in that mutual accountability, to continue to organize together until necessary changes occur and change becomes real. My sister Maria will close us in prayer.
Gracias, hermanos, hermanas.
Thank you, brothers, sisters. Thank you for your courage and for your faith. Thank you, Luis, for your perseverance.
I'll pray in both languages. You can rest a little bit. Dios, creador del universo, God, creator,
Oh God, creator of the universe,
de todos los pueblos y culturas, de todos los idiomas y las razas, creator of all the peoples and cultures, of all languages and races. Te pedimos que nos des la sabiduría y la pasión necesaria para crear un futuro diferente, donde todos los residentes de Orange County podamos celebrar juntos y unidos en fiesta al haber logrado cambios radicales en los servicios de salud mental. God, Creator, we ask that you give us the wisdom and the passion necessary that we together can create a different future, one where all residents of Orange County can celebrate together in a big fiesta, because we will have changed and made radical changes and solved the mental health crisis in our community. Dios, danos la sabiduría y el compromiso que necesitamos. God, we pray for the wisdom and the commitment we need para creer por los que no creen, to believe for those who do not believe, para amar por los que no aman, to love for those who cannot love, para soñar por los que no sueñan, to dream for those who cannot dream, hasta que lo que esperamos se torne en realidad, so that what we hope for may become reality. Amen.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for your presence here. It was very significant to see this beautiful group of people, but remember, not only the people physically present here were the only one. We had like more than 80 people connected through social media with this meeting, this assembly. So God bless you and go in peace.